Welcome to Rich Scale Modelling. This is part 6 of AMT's Star Trek USS Enterprise. Scale is 1 to 650. Now this is the Constitution class, and I'll be building this as a what if kit, so it's not necessarily connected to the Star Trek universe, it's just my take on it for a little bit of fun. So in this part 6, I'm going to be concentrating on the warp nacelles. So finishing off all the prep work before placing in the lights and getting everything joined up. So let's jump into this and see how well I get on. The first thing I'm going to be doing here is prepping the buzzer collectors. Now the lights are going to go in here, but I need a cap to go inside it so I can, one, mount the lights, and two, act as a panel for any light bleed so it doesn't come into the nacelle itself. So as you can see there, I'm just tracing around the buzzard mount so that I know what sort of area that I'm working on. Effectively, all I need is 2 discs. Now these are going to be slightly oversized to fit inside it because I'm using the outside circumference of the buzzard. So I'm just trimming this down as close to the mark as possible, and I'll file it down until I'm happy with the fit. Now this will take a little bit of time because I'm only taking microns off each time I pass the file over. Also, I don't want to go too much and have to redo the whole thing again. So just little bits at a time, and I'll be checking to make sure it fits. Once I'm happy with it, the prep for the lights is fairly straightforward. I'm placing in 2 lights on this disc, so I'm just making 2 pilot holes to receive them. So as you can see there, I've already wired the lights. The ones with the yellow sheath, I wired them. I used a resistor, which is a 470 ohm resistor for these. And I'm just placing the bulb in itself, and it's just the bulb is going to be shown here. So there you can see it just poking in there. The second light I placed in is an actual flashing LED, and that was pre-wired, similar to what I put in the saucer section. And once they're fitted in, then I'll see about joining them up. But as you can see there, I've already connected both negative to negative and positive to positive on each light, so I've got one runoff to make the circuit. Each light then is secured with a little bit of super glue so there won't be any movement. So once they're in, I'm just doing a light test to make sure everything is working. So you can see the flashing red and the solid colour. Now, the reason why I'm doing one flash and one solid is it's going to give the illusion of it pulsing and working. Now, you can actually buy a little rotator that goes inside these nacelles, so it rotates around and passes over the light, and you have the same effect. But I think a pulsator light like the red flashing but does pretty much the same effect, although just a little bit cheaper. And yeah, you won't see the shadow going around, but apart from that, I think it'll look all right. So once I'm happy with that, as you can see there, I'm starting to do the secondary wire up, and it's a simple case of just adding the lengths of wire to what I've already got connected. And these connections are pretty much done. Well, they are done the same way as the other connections in the other areas of the build, so there's no point really going through it again. The only difference, real difference, there's different lengths of wire here, and that's dictating where I'm going to be connecting them on to the LED strip light. But as I said in the past, it's always good to repeat this, I think. When you're making these connections, make sure you light test before you solder anything in, so that way if there is a mistake and anything goes wrong, it's quite easy to backtrack, and you don't have the hassle then having to rewire completely because everything is secured in. Only start soldering and doing your final connection when you know everything is going to work and is in place. Now it's time to connect these to the LED strip. Now this is a blue LED strip. I've already pre-soldered the contact points, so it's just a matter of reheating the solder and placing on the wires. This can be a little bit tricky if you're not used to it. I'm holding it down with a couple of clamps just so it doesn't bend out the way while I'm soldering. It doesn't take a lot of heat to remelt the soldering. The solder, it's just a little bit of heat, then you push in the wire to your pre-soldered area. And this is where your planning comes into play here. If you're not sure how they're going to look and how you're going to map out the wiring, it's always better just to have a little diagram, just draw in. It doesn't matter if you're good at drawing or not. Simple lines will do, with a lot of notations in, like positive here, negative will go there. It doesn't have to be a complicated thing, just long as that you know exactly where the wires are going to go and how it's going to sit inside your model. And now always, once everything's connected, it's time to do a light test to see if everything is working. And hopefully this will work. I haven't tested it, so there we go. The blues came on and the LED diodes are working as well. So now it's time to place them in. Because I've already measured these out, I know exactly where they're going. First of all, the disc that I made up, that gets secured inside the one end of the nacelle. And I'll just physically hold this in position for a few minutes until I know it's not going to move. Then once that's in position, what I'll do is I'll just secure the LED strip inside, doing a light test as you can see there, and make sure everything is how I would like it to be. There's something I forgot to show you. I was meant to show you this earlier on, and it's just opening up the area to hold the wire when it runs down the strut of the nacelle. That is basically what I've been doing through the other parts, so just making sure I've got a channel for the wire to run down into the root of the hull. So now everything is in place and ready to go. I can then close up the nacelle. So you can see there the wires are all connected and it's going to be running down the strut, and that's the area will be connected into the hull. If you need to tape it down in position, if you think your wires are just going to pop out of place, but this particular kit, it was quite easy to get everything to fit into. And once it was all lined up, it was just a couple of clamps to hold everything in place. Once it's all sealed up, and I've put a little bit of masking tape on the perspex just to protect it, and it's time to place on the buzzer. That just sits on. There's not really a great connection point to line this up here. They may need a little bit of manoeuvring. Just be careful when you're doing it. There is a cap that goes around part of it later on, but the initial contact, it can be a bit precarious. So it's back to the end caps of the nacelles now. These are going to be treated the same way as the buzzers are. So if I get my phone and just light it up there, you can see the light shining through the dome. And this is the look I want. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to mask off this little dome area before I prime the part. However, that was the theory. I actually primed them before I realised what I was doing. So what I'm doing here is I'm just scraping off the primer with my blade. It's a simple process. It wasn't any great drama, but I believe in showing mistakes, and this was one little mistake. Then once I removed the white primer from the dome, it was just a simple case of masking it off. A little bit tricky because of the shape, but a thin piece of the masking tape worked well enough. And once it was masked off, I was able then to put on the end. Now, there's no location points for these, so you're going to have to pay special attention if you're doing this kit to figure out the angle of it. There is a little nick inside the plastic. It's meant to line up, but it doesn't quite line up. So you are going to have to do it by eye. I actually put a little bit of pencil mark on it to line it all up. And I've done that just by marrying it up, then drawn a pencil line over it before I added the cement. And once the buzzer collector was secure, it was time to put on the housing around it. Now this only goes around half of the nacelle. And while I'm waiting for the nacelles to cure, I'm going to bring the video to an end. And the last thing I'm doing here is placing on the deflector dish mount, and that just closes off the secondary hull. So if you haven't done so already, why don't you go and check the channel for my other builds. If you subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit the notification bell. That way you'll be kept up to date not only with this build, but all of my future builds as well, of course. Hit the like button, don't be afraid to leave a comment, and of course you can share the video. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.